You girls can do it every once in a while and be okay, which is fantastic. Good on you, girls. I love it. Every once in a while, you have a little sugar booger. You know what I mean? Good for you. But my problem is that I don't know how to just have some. So I will wake up tomorrow morning and be like, hey, everybody. Hey, guys. Where's the cocaine? And so therefore, for that reason, I've never tried anything harder. But weed has often been a source of decompression for me, a source of social engagement for me, a source of like being able to kind of calm down, a source of being able to turn up, a source of like, I find myself even unable to kind of build up an appetite unless I have smoked. So, and now it's like my tolerance is getting, increasing that much more. So anyways, it's time for me to take a break, So I don't know how long this break is going to. Have you guys ever taken a tolerance break from weed? How long have you done? I feel like if I could I'm going to try to get through at least the next couple of days and see how that works out for me. Normally I balance my addiction. So, where I'm lacking here or where I can't have something here, I may, overdo something else. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm even going to make it through today. My weed man is out of town. Yo, y'all, do y'all weed man tell y'all when he going out of town? Now, I've always had a contentious relationship with my weed man, if you will, because he is flaky. And not the kind of flaky we like on a croissant. Flaky like, nigga, you making a mess. Flaky like a Nature Valley bar. Like, nigga, you making a fucking mess of my life, okay? Because I'm trying to treat you like an essential worker, and you trying to act like you finna take my order at Love That Chicken from Popeyes, okay? Anyways, so fine. I call my weed guy the other day, and I'm like, hey, you around, like, whatever. Oh, I'm out of town right now. Well, who's taking your shift? Oh, yeah, no one, like my brother's not around either. So, nigga, you out on PTO and ain't nobody covering your shift? You not a good businessman. That's how I feel. You not a good businessman. You out here taking Zelle and Cash App, but you ain't got nobody covering your shift? The fuck? Any which ways. So let's get into some junk this week. You guys, one last thing, because we'll talk throughout this. But, how are y'all families doing? We're about to come up on a time where it's going to get heavy in the family realm. And I know a lot of us, though we love our family, are very highly aware of how toxic the culture in our family can be. I love my family, but I oftentimes feel like an alien in my family because I am someone who may be a little bit more a different emotional quotient than them, so to speak. And so therefore, a lot of times that leaves us unable to relate in a lot of ways. And this is something that they'd hear and probably try to kill me, but like, it's not a shade kind of thing. It's kind of more of like a, hey man, we just are at two different places emotionally. So, shout out to all of you who are planning on going home soon and spending time with your family. Take the armor of God with you is all I'm going to say. We'll talk more about that at a later date. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's get into some other news this week. It was announced this week that Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the juggernaut show that has been ruling the airwaves of E! Entertainment for something close to 20 years, will end its run on E! Entertainment after this upcoming 20th anniversary season. Now, although they just recently broke this news that their incredibly popular show would be, and excuse me, I said they've been aired for upwards of about 20 years, when in fact they have been on for about 13 years. Now, they made a huge announcement via social media, and then you saw it on a lot of the blogs that picked it up, and even some of the entertainment shows of the evening picked it up, and, big news that they'd be ending. Well, it appears that the Kardashians could make a major return. Inside sources say that the family is expected to have a very lucrative streaming deal within a year. Now, this report went to Page Six, who cannot be trusted because they're owned by Rupert Murdoch of Fox. They reportedly are interested in signing one with the giant juggernaut Netflix or Apple or Amazon. Now, E! currently pays $150 million. They paid $150 million in 2017 to re-sign contracts. But here's some other gag-worthy news. There are also talks of the Kardashians starting their own media company. Now, there's more money in streaming, and it is global. But they were thinking of starting something that would be kind of more similar to Shark Tank by offering up advice to business entrepreneurs and what have you. Now, the Kardashians have been wildly successful in their entrepreneurial pursuits. But the question is, have we had enough? We've got the strained relationship between Kourtney and her baby's father. We've got all of the mental health and pop hurdles that Kanye has been going through. Did you see his big up to Candace Owens this week? He posted a screenshot of her book, The Blackout, and gave her a shout out via Twitter. I think that it's an entertainment show. I think that it's interesting because they've never really truly been honest about who they are. I think they've been honest about what they've wanted us to see. I think we've been able to get glimpses into their personalities, and I don't think that they've been shy about some of the major happenings in their family, because how could you be shy? It is part of what they sell. But I think the interesting thing about the Kardashians is that they've been able to really hone in on the fact that if you give the public enough to feel like they know your life, then you could really dial back from them actually going through your trash and getting all up in your business for real, because you've given them enough content to keep them going. And I think that we've always kind of swatted the Kardashians on the hand and said, hey, you guys give it up too much. You guys sell your personal lives. But I think it's interesting because are they? They've sold us what they wanted us to know. But they've not really sold us, like, where's the episode about the post-baby mom body? And not one of those episodes where it's like, wah, 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 I don't feel good about myself. And then by the end of the episode, you're skinny. Take us to the visit to the doctor's office where we see how your body comes back into formation. You've never showed us that. You've never really showed us the facelifts and the nose jobs and the lip injections. We've never really been able to see any of that stuff. So I think it's interesting that they have been able to get away with, quote unquote, sharing salacious details of their lives with us without actually having to really get too deep and share too damn much about themselves. And I mean, here's the other part too. A lot of the content that we get from the Kardashians is oftentimes rooted in the base of it being what's going on with the men that surround them, and the salaciousness kind of being more so about not who they are and, you know, just crazy off-brand shit that they do as individuals, but more crazy off-brand shit that tends to happen to them because they're involved in other people's lives. Does that make sense? So it's never about how, it's never about, you know, is Kendall, you know, this or is she that? It's never really about going in on them on their own. It's like, oh, well, Kendall has this relationship with this other person and it brings drama. Let's see how that affects stuff. It's never like, you know, Kendall does some really wild shit and it's not just like, oh, you missed a photo shoot or you missed a camping trip. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is I think that they have been genius about having the public feel like they know them, when truth be told, we don't fucking know shit about these motherfuckers. They've never actually had us keep up with any of their lives in real life. It's always been like Kanye, Scott, this one, Tyga, that one. What's Chris's man's name with the hips? Corey, Bruce. It's always been about their relationships with the guys or their relationship with their friends. You know, Jordan, Malika, whoever, and how that affects their lives. You know, even their relationship with each other, it's been like bullshit. You know, like, oh, we fighting because, you know, we just love each other so much and we miss each other. You know, like, now I want to see the fight about, you know, I want to see the real fight, you know, but, which I will say this fight this year between Kourtney and Kim, where she slapped the living shit. She slapped the black off Kim. That was an interesting battle, to say the least. Okay. So, have you guys gotten into, I know, so much to talk about. Have you guys seen what's happening out there in California with these wildfires and, you know, the red skies and all this stuff? Well, I know destructive wildfires have been destroying Northern California, and firefighters have been working to extinguish the fires as flames continue to kind of ravish through Oroville, California. Well, the governor of the state, Gavin Newsom, is now signing a bill, or has signed a bill, Bill 2147, which is going to allow inmates to have records cleared and a pathway to becoming a professional firefighter once their prison sentence has been completed. Now, inmates who have stood on the front lines battling historic fires should not be denied the right to later become a professional firefighter, is what Governor Newsom said. Now, how do you guys feel about this? I know that this is probably not the greatest of news to some of you guys, because I'm sure a lot of you guys feel like, well, there are other people who are actually like really dream of this. And so why should we be giving this opportunity to people from prison? But I think that when you consider recidivism, I think it's important that the plan, because let's be honest, America is never going to get rid of its prison system. It is too much of a big business for this country, and it's way too much of a way for a lot of these organizations who rely on prison labor, which is cheap labor, because these people are not seen as actual like law-abiding citizens. So they're not given the comfort of, hey, you're a prisoner in New York, so you get $15 an hour. No, you can get $1